Grizzlies fans, Happy New Year. It is the last game of 2023. The Grizzlies will take on the Sacramento Kings. So joining me to break this one down is Morgan Ragan. Are you excited to end the season? We're not ending the season, ending the year off.
Yeah, I am. I am excited. I'm a little nervous with the Kings going into Memphis
I mean,
to
good, right? That's like a good thing that we want to hear.
It's a good thing for you guys. Absolutely. I don't know. I feel like the Kings have been so inconsistent in 2023 that I'm like, I'm ready to end 2023, finish off hopefully strong for the Kings, and then start off 2024 a little bit more consistent. That's my goal.
Okay, so I think the Grizzlies would have a very similar goal. They are obviously got Ja Morant back. They've been 4-2 since he's been back. Yeah, 4-2 since he's been back. We were coming off 2 straight losses on the road. The Kings are coming off a win over Atlanta. I think the big news on the Grizzlies side today is that for the first time in a very long time, both Derrick Rose and Luke Kennard have the potential to come back. They are listed as questionable tonight, and they've been out for a very long time. Derrick will provide, really good backup point guard minutes. Luke Kennard will provide 3-point shooting, which the Grizzlies desperately wanted to. And so I want to start with the 3-point shooting. The Grizzlies right now, Morgan, take the 6th most 3-pointers out of every team in the league. Defensively for the Kings, is that something they've been good at defending so far this season?
I mean, here's the thing. This is how inconsistent they are. There are games where their defense is locked in. It's rotating left to right. They're contesting shots. Then there's been other games too where just teams are just on fire shooting over them. It doesn't matter. It's like they aren't even getting the best look from three. They're just making everything. But then there's other nights where the Kings defense, they're blitzing a guy. Like let's say even tonight, like they try and blitz double Ja Morant close to the half court line in their half court offense. And then they've had struggles rotating over, getting to guys, contesting threes. So it's one of those things you just don't know what Kings team you're going to get tonight. But I'm hoping it is obviously the more locked in defensive Kings team that we have seen play in some of these games.
Okay, so on the flip, the Grizzlies had a pretty poor defense for the first 20, 25 games before Ja came back. And a big part of that was that they were allowing opponents so many 3-pointers. Is that something the Kings can capitalize from the Grizzlies side?
Well,
Again.
yes, yes, and that's the thing. Like, how fun would this be if we just had a high-powered offense
Mhm.
game here going on, and everyone's knocking down threes? I mean, it obviously sometimes it gets frustrating, but it's fun when both teams are doing it, especially if that's how they're responding. And I think for the Kings, not only do you look at someone like Keegan Murray, who kind of was in a funk early on in the season after coming off a huge year of just shooting almost perfectly from 3-point land. And then he's really started to figure that out. He's become a huge two-way guy. Last game wasn't his best offensive game against the Hawks, but that's okay. And then you have someone like Kevin Herter, who has been really in a funk with his 3-point shooting. But then scratch that, right? De'Aaron Fox had a career high 8 3-pointers last game against the Hawks. And everyone's like, oh, that's going to happen sometimes, right? No, De'Aaron has been so on fire from three. He's shooting close to 40% from 3-point land. And it's one of those things where not only has he become that threat from wherever on the floor now, his range is incredible, but he can just take the ball in and he's unstoppable. He's so quick. He can get into the paint and then he can get that spray three to someone like Malik Monk.
Okay, so that's the fun part that I love about De'Aaron Fox. It's very much that he plays similar style to Ja Morant. And so you have De'Aaron Fox is averaging 30 points a game, matched up with Sabonis, who's averaging 20 and 12, going up against Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. And I'm leaving Dez out just for a quick second because it's like the guard and the big, the guard and the big. What excites you the most about kind of like those 4 guys going at it tonight?
Well, I think for when I look at the Kings, I go, okay, them in that two-man game with Sabonis. I just love how consistent he has been with his passing, being able to find guys if they're moving without the basketball. And then you said for you, Jaren, I'm curious how dominant has he been defensively this year? That's where I'm at because I go, there's been a lot of struggle for the Kings when they're dealing with length inside the paint. And I think if you see someone like Domas, he likes to power through guys. I know Jaren Jackson Jr. is also a strong guy and he's long. So what is he going to do on Domas if Domas tries to really power through him? And then with John De'Aaron, I'm curious if De'Aaron will be defending Ja first, or if they're going to shove Keegan Murray on him, because those two, with De'Aaron and Keegan, they have been just such incredible defenders this year. But if it is De'Aaron on Ja, I would love it, because that has been a storyline for so many years. Like, who's better? Who, their games are so similar, but who's the better guy and what they're doing now. So we'll see who can slow down each other when it comes to those two guards.
All right, and then let's go to the wings then, because again, this is the first time we've played the Kings, so I want to like break it down. I'm going to, just for preview's sake, talk about Luke Kennard like he's playing right now. I don't know, it'll be closer to game time, but let's just say we have Desmond Bane and Luke Kennard into the lineup for the first time in months, at least a month. You have two guys who were top of the league in 3-point percentage last year, really spacing out the floor. What does that look like in terms of matchups defensively for the Kings? That pace is interesting.
It's because it's seriously, it's what I keep saying. Like, their defense is so inconsistent. And like, I could be saying this, and then Grizzlies fans later on could be like, she was so wrong. They were so locked in defensively. But I think about someone like Malik Monk, who is also has become a better and better defender. So if you're just looking at him, the way that he rotates, I think he does a great job in help, but also recovering. So like, in recovering, I'm not just talking about recovering if someone goes by him. I'm talking about if he is across the way, but he was supposed to be in help on the block. He does such a great job of, with all of his effort, of finding a way to come over and still contest a shot or block a shot. So maybe it's going to be something like that, especially if Luke Kennard just coming back. Like, does he not have his rhythm? Does he not have that NBA pace ready for his first game back? I don't know. But also, get this, I haven't even mentioned him, Davion Mitchell. He has not played a lot this year. I think he's played himself off the floor, not contributing on the offensive end, but him as an on-ball defender is just money. He can guard anybody in this league. So if he is out there, it's not so much about him and his help. It's about him disrupting someone like Ja Morant's game. So then Luke Kennard or Desmond Bane aren't just knocking, or aren't just wide open from three, right? Because Ja and the amount of tension, collapsing the defense and finding the open man.
Yeah. All right, let's end with this. I'm going to have you fill in the blank, Morgan. If if the Kings do blank well, they win the last game of 2023. Are consistent.
I mean, I'm gonna just say, if they defend well. And I think if you look at their offense, they had that historically amazing offense last season, right? It's not the same this year, but it is inconsistent. And I've seen it at times, like, it can take them home. But when their defense is really bad, I almost just cussed. I was going to say a really bad word. When their defense is bad, it is it's just, teams dig them in a hole. And there are a lot of these games that the Kings are losing on an average of 16 points per game, but that doesn't even tell the whole story. Usually ends up being like a 20 plus hole for the Sacramento Kings. So if they can defend, slow down Ja, hopefully contest some of those threes with maybe Luke Kennard coming back as well, and also slowing down Jaren Jackson Jr. I think with him, just going at him, try and get him in foul trouble so he's sitting on the bench more. But yeah, I guess blank would be defense.
For the Grizzlies, just quick, if you're looking from the Grizzlies side, watching this, I'm going to go with a good start. I saw that the Kings are 14-0 when they're tied or leading at halftime. The Grizzlies have gotten down a lot early in the first quarter, especially the second quarter. They have been a very much like fourth quarter team. And so I think going into a game against a team that is 14-0 when they're tied or leading at half, you've got to come out with urgency in that first half.
Yeah, that would, I mean, especially for you guys, if you do that and then you put them in that hole, the Kings have struggled, really just trying to dig themselves out of that. So we'll see.